So there's a question here that someone asked and said, what has inspired you to go into film as a pastor, and how do you manage all of it? And that connects to the question I wanted to ask you about. How then, I mean, you're an apostle's wife, you are a mother in Israel, you have kids, you have businesses and loads of things. How do you manage it all? Please tell us.
Okay,
Ejawasi, let's
so
move.
for me, storytelling has always really been a very big part of my life personally. It's always been a very big part of my life. When I was a child, my first love was poetry. So I wrote my first poem when I was 8. And then it was articles, short stories. I was always in drama group. When I was an undergraduate, then Tyler Perry used to make only Christian films. And my desire was to go to America to go and work for Tyler Perry. But at this time, there was no social media. I didn't know anybody in the industry. In fact, I remember posting on a blog that wrote a story about Tyler Perry and just putting it out there, hoping he would see it because there was no, even to shoot a random DM or to follow, like there was nothing like that at the time. But by God's grace, we also started ministry pretty early. So I started following my husband when I was an undergraduate, and church started a year after we graduated. So ministry has always been a big part of my life, and so has storytelling. Um, and so it only made sense that eventually those two would find a way to intersect because I've always loved stories. And then I've always, or for a long time, I've had a call to ministry. And there's something my husband and pastor would say about how you can pastor people on Sundays, but on Mondays to Saturdays, you have movies pastoring them, you have social media pastoring them, you have music pastoring them. And so I do believe in impact and discipleship within the church. But I also believe in impact and discipleship beyond the four walls of the church. And there's almost no greater way to influence culture than through stories because what we're doing as people of faith is beyond church. Even though church is important, is integral, and is necessary, what we are doing is fighting for the hearts and the minds of people. And we'll be joking if we think that we can influence the hearts and minds of people on a daily basis without capturing the aspects of storytelling and all other aspects that are paramount to that. So then I think the how do you do everything question, that's the question that's going to make me a billionaire. Because if I had $1
Because
for
everybody
every
asks me
time,
that question over and over again.
yes, I do think that it's a matter of grace, great grace. I cannot even divorce grace from that. It's definitely is a matter of grace. I think that for everything that God has called a person to do, He's giving you grace to do it such that even if you have the same 24 hours as everybody else, somehow He can make your 24 hours even much more productive. So just really a lot of grace, but also I do have like a great support system. Like almost every weekend, my parents are with me to help with the kids. I have a husband who's supportive of me. Um, I have help, paid help. So those things. I'm not going to say I just do every single thing by myself. When it comes to film, the work I do, I have a team that I can trust. There are some things that are my core that I do myself, but I don't do everything myself. If I'm making a film, chances are I probably won't spend up to, if the crew is spending 100% of their time on sets, probably on set for 10% of the time. I probably will be on set for 10 because I no longer um produce directly. My work is executive. So that means they call me in for the big decisions. which are not usually as many when they are already on set. But if a film is going on set, I've probably been writing for months, trying to get funding for months, thinking of the overall vision. Where do we go from here? I'm quite involved in post production as well. Very involved in casting. My eyes are on the budgets. I'm involved in just stakeholder management for the key people. So it's knowing what aspects of what I do must be done by me, and just having a team. I was in Winnipeg and somebody asked me one director you'd like to work with. And I said, the person who directed Onobere, and who directed Last to Marry, and who directed everything I did last year. The same person. So just once I find a collaboration that works, I'm very excited about it. The same person has produced my films for years. My name is Onome. My director, Famous. So I do have a really strong team, and they're loyal to me. I'm loyal to them. But I'm open to working with new people if I find it necessary. So yeah, I do have, like, there's a lot of delegation going on. And then I know I mentioned that I do a lot of things, but I rarely do all of them at the same time. So I was not even conscious that YouTube had entered 175K because my eyes have not been. My eyes
Your
have
eyes
not.
have not been
Yes,
there for
I think
now.
that because we've been doing a lot
Ah.
of engagements with the brand overall, there's been just some things that have what's the word? Have just passively grown. So there's some things that I grow passively. There's some things every once in a while I'm on maybe one thing actively. So that has that I think so that's it. A lot of grace, a lot of help. I also don't say yes to everything. I think
Hmm. Yeah.
I think that saying no helps you say yes to what's important to you. So I don't say yes to everything. I also understand the times and seasons of my life. So I'm now entering a season where I'm likely to be more quiet, calmer, trying to figure out, okay, what's the Lord saying, and focusing on my core. So my family, the church campus I pastor, my primary responsibilities as a pastor, but maybe not like everywhere for everything because I'm coming out from a very busy season to a calmer season, right? So it's just really understanding yourself, the seasons of your life. And one of my favorite scriptures, Ephesians 5:11, talks about how you must not walk as unwise, but as wise, understanding what the will of God is. And so it's okay, is this like this is a good thing, but is it what God will have me be doing like right now? And when it comes to decisions about my time, I'm really sentimental in that if someone is important to me, I definitely will show up for them. But I may not show up for everybody that says God said you should be there if God didn't tell me. So so I think just really understanding that, but also just really being open to, will God have me do this? Is this in line with the direction I think my life is going? Um and then once in a while I just but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, but I'm particular about my time. Um and then I try to make sure that my family is prioritized and then community is prioritized because the truth is, even when it comes to ministry, I love being a pastor, but many there are a number of other people can do what I do as a pastor. But I'm the only person that can be a wife to my husband or a mother to my children. And so I'm careful not to forget that. But you see, if you're a woman, balance is a fluid thing. in the sense that you are driving this way, you realize I'm getting close to the cliff, so you realign yourself. So it's a constant game of just really realignment, and then if there are lapses in an area that I should have focused on, instead of beating myself up about it, realign again. But at the core, I think for me is I never define myself by what I do, but by whose I am. Because there's a tendency to, when you are a high performing individual, wants to go on to the next, wants to go on to the next. And many times it could be because you've tied your self worth to what you do per time, how people respond, how much you make, how many views, how much impact. And I'm a stickler for doing things well and having the best results, but I don't tie my self worth to stuff I do. And so I think that has also helped me when it's time to take a step back. Because there are seasons of my life where I'm not making any film, I'm not traveling anywhere to preach. I'm just one pregnant girl in the house. And that's okay. It's okay. Because at this time, what did you do today? I built eye, a leg. What did you do today? I just listened to the Lord, I prayed. Right. And so I think um there have been years that went by and I didn't make any film. I didn't make anything. I just doing like other things, or it's just really understanding what's God's will per time. What am I hoping to achieve in this season of my life, and what is necessary and important to get me there. I think that's basically it. But for everything that God has called you to do, and the Bible says there's time for everything, is beyond doing the right thing at the right time. It is understanding that for everything God has called you to do, He has created time for it. And if you don't have the time, maybe you need to apply yourself more. Maybe there are some things you are doing that you ought not to be doing. Maybe you need to embrace the secret place more, and just understand God's wisdom for that season and the grace He's provided for that season. Maybe it's delegate more. Yeah, but God is helping us step by step, day by day.